as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you really have to really know what you're getting into. Don't leave it up to other people to do it for you. To be successful, I feel like you have to get into the nitty-gritty, know everything from marketing to accounting to payroll, all the way to the end to doing the job.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds Podcast, brought to you by Advanced Services, Fuse Networks, and our newest sponsor, Warrior Injury Law. So, Joe, before we get started, can you tell our audience how we started our podcast?
Sure. So it first started out as a private Facebook group page. The purpose was to bring business owners together to just communicate, talk, and share tips of how to help each other's businesses grow and function better. We were tapped on the shoulder because we get asked questions outside of marketing. We thought, what a better way than to start a podcast and bring on different guest speakers to talk about all topics relevant to being in business.
Awesome. And we've never had this topic or this kind of guest. We're really excited. Joe, please introduce our guest, please.
Yeah, so this is Ria Toles, and she's with Bodily. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, please.
Well, we are a biohazard waste company called BioClean Inc. Initially, this was not my career to get into, but it was something that my husband was passionate about. And so we do everything from crime scene cleaning, unattended deaths, hoarding, homeless encampments, and we do a lot of drug sampling and remediation with meth and fentanyl. So anything biohazardous waste is what we do.
What's the nastiest site you've had to clean up?
Oh, gosh. I personally was a hoarding situation that was also an unattended death situation. So that has been there for quite some time. So that one involved, cats eating the body and stuff like that. So that one was pretty gross, yes.
So real quick, before we move on, so when someone finds you online or makes that call, you must be there pretty quick then, like within hours, I assume, or how's that?
Yes. So for our unattended deaths, we're 24/7, and our turnaround time to be at the properties within 2 hours. Usually it's less than that, just depending where it's at. But yes, we are available as soon as possible.
All right. We'll get into that a little bit later. So a real CSI cleanup team, we're going to kind of get into your story, your business, on how entrepreneurs have a business like this. But let's get to know you individually first. Joe, do you mind asking the first question?
What is one thing you learned about yourself last year?
Last year, I learned that I can't do everything. So I am learning to navigate and to give off things and trust people a little bit more because I'm really, with this company, I'm just compassionate and I'm passionate about it, and I want to do everything. I want to do everything right, and I want to be there for people, but I learned that I just can't do it all. Yes.
So a follow-up to that is, what is one thing you want to improve on for this upcoming year? Since when this podcast episode comes out, we'll be towards the beginning of the year. What's one thing you want to improve on this year for personal or business?
One of my goals is to be out there more with marketing and really showing our services and how we do things and giving education on why we do things and what we're seeing out there to the public. That's one of our main things. We hired a public relations person to really be out there and give our free presentations to businesses. So our goal is to really educate, especially on the drug epidemic, on homelessness. So that is one of our goals for this year.
You brought up marketing, so why is...
Good segue.
Good segue. Why is marketing important?
It's important for us because we have to get the word out there on what we do and educate the public why it's best to have a professional clean up meth and fentanyl, why you shouldn't do it yourself, the dangers, and also with blood cleanup, why you shouldn't be doing it yourself. The cause of bacteria and viruses out there, So there's just so much people don't know because we're an underground industry that we just really feel like marketing and social media is really important for us this year to educate people.
Awesome. So now we come to our first sponsored segment, our Advanced Services Pump You Up Quote of the Day. So we asked Rhea for a quote, so I'll read it. Fitting for this week when we're filming it, from Martin Luther King Jr. Everyone can be great because everyone can serve. So Rhea, tell us why that means so much to you.
For my family and I, my husband and I, we love to serve our community, serve our family. I think that by doing that, you can be great at whatever you do. Just having compassion in your job, in your family, everything like that, you can be great at it. And we've seen that personally, and we've seen that with other people. And so we just think it's really important to have that mindset to serve others.
Awesome. Thank you. Now our Fuse Networks Did You Know segments.
Millions of cyber criminals are out there on a daily basis trying to steal your information. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Small businesses account for 58% of cyber attacks annually. So help your company fight cybercrime and mitigate risk by being proactive. Call Fuse Networks, your local Seattle IT experts at 206-701-6040 for a complimentary IT network and security assessment.
So Joy and I will each read one of the myths, one of the stats, and then just get your thought on it. Because everyone's seen the TV show CSI, or however many spin-offs there are now of CSI. So it's obviously very popular. People know it more. But let's get into that a little bit more, learn about the industry.
So blood and bodily fluid cleanup are the same as any other cleanup?
No, not at all. And the reason is because blood travels fast. There is several viruses and bacteria in blood and bloodborne pathogens, all of that you have to be very, very careful in bodily fluids with feces, urine, vomit. It's not just like any other cleanup. There's chances of getting infected, and it can also affect your property because of, with porous materials like wood, laminate, all of that. It travels fast, it gets in there, and it's not just a swipe. You really have to get down and dirty.
So when you say down and dirty, what do you mean by, how do you clean up fluids like that?
Well, if it's a big blood job, for instance, and it's traveled, it can travel into the flooring, into the subflooring. So
things you can't see.
Things you can't see. So we have to go in and actually demo, depending how bad it is, the flooring, drywall.
Yeah.
We've done crime scenes where there's blood splatter everywhere, and we really had to get in and demo the whole entire room. So, and people don't know that. They just think, just get simple
Only
green.
what you can see, right?
Yes, and it's like that because of, again, the chances of getting infected with a virus, with bacteria, you just don't know.
And then do your team have to wear certain gear to stay protected?
Yeah, we use PPEs, like the hazmat suits you see, different kinds of respirators depending what the job is, gloves, all of it's super protected. Yeah.
So this next one I'll read just because it was intriguing me. But household cleaners or soap and water are sufficient for drug decontamination. Because I would say the DIY is get your bottle of Lysol, your Clorox, your disinfectant wipes, and try to clean it up yourself.
Yes.
Talk to our audience about that one.
That's not enough because when blood permeates in there and you don't properly decontaminate it, it'll sit there and a smell will come, and especially when it's hot, heat activates that smell. So sometimes we get calls where people say, well, I cleaned this up last January and it's August, and they're like, there's this smell, and it's like because you didn't really go in and properly clean it the way you should have, which is demoing, getting the flooring out, all of that. And so just wiping it with soap and water does not do it at all, no, or Lysol. Yeah.
Well, then I have to know real quick, is this something that's covered by someone's homeowner's insurance? Or is this out of
Sometimes,
pocket?
yes. It depends on the situation. With crime scenes, yes, we work with insurance, start the claim. Drugs is so new, and this is one that we're very passionate about to get the word out because we've had not such good luck with getting drug contamination insured. there's so many political things behind it, but there's also the insurance company are just not educated on what's happening in that industry right now. So, but with the crime scenes, the unattended deaths, yes, that can be covered.
So for a crime scene, if it's like on city property or something, the city's calling you, paying for that.
No, it's left with the families.
Oh,
Yeah. So we get referred out because we work with all kinds of PDs, firefighters, chaplains all over, but it's left to the families. And a lot of the time, and that's how we started, was helping families in these type of trauma situations. Who's going to clean up after their loved ones?
So what happens in a situation, because in Washington and Seattle, with, like you mentioned, homeless encampments, but someone doesn't have any family, they were homeless, or they don't have anything to them, like who would pay for that if it obviously needs to be cleaned up? How do you guys work that?
With the transition with the homeless, I don't know how the city takes care of them and where they put them.
In terms of like the cleanup and providing your services.
Yeah, so we have a contract with like City of Seattle, with different part of Seattle, so they would call us if it's owned by them. If it's a private owner, they would call us. If we were referred out to them, they will call us and let us know.
This stat, just to show how big this business is growing. So in 2024, the U.S. waste management market was valued at approximately $342.7 million and growing. Do you have a sense in 2025 how much it's going to escalate or grow even more?
I think it will grow. I think just because of circumstances, what's happening right now outside in the world, you know, and what we're seeing, the rise in homelessness, the rise in drugs, especially with drugs, suicide. We have had the most suicide cleanups we've ever had in our company. Wow. So suicide's on the rise. So yes, I do definitely see a rise in those numbers.
And then finally, as of 2023, there were approximately 50,300 hazardous material removal workers in the United States. Is that a number that's also been on the increase?
Yes, I do. I think people are catching on to this type of industry. It's just difficult because people don't understand there's a lot of certifications you have to get to do this job. But I do see a rise in this industry for sure. Yes.
So, when did you start your business?
This company has started since 1998. So it first started with a woman named Teresa Borse. She was a first responder, and she did it she was like, who's going to clean up after this, for the families? So that's how it started, was cleaning up blood scenes, trauma scenes. And then it just really evolved into this huge company that she did from the ground up on her own as a woman-owned business. And then we just became friends with her and bought the company. My husband did. He's been in this construction contracting industry for a really long time and was very interested in Teresa and what she did. And so he just partnered with her, learned about it, and then eventually bought the company in 2022.
Talk about that process. To our audience, what's it like purchasing a business? For you to purchase a business?
Oh, it was hard. It's not so easy. It took probably almost 2 years, over a year, for us to actually buy it. It's a lot of commitment. It's a lot of learning. You have to learn. You have to be committed to be in the business, to know what you're doing, to take on the employees, everything. And we didn't change anything when we bought the company from her. She did an amazing job, and that's why we wanted to buy it. It was because of something that was also helping the community.
Yeah, right.
But we knew she just did such a wonderful job, and she didn't even have marketing, social media. Everything was word of mouth with her. She had a name for herself, and people trusted her within law enforcement to
she had
city
established relationships that you
definitely did, and we continue it from here on out, and we continue even greater than what she did. I mean, and they did a movie on her. I don't know, Sunshine Cleaning. I don't know if you've heard of it, with Emily Blunt, Amy Adams. They heard her on an NPR interview, and they ended up doing this.
The impetus for a movie that.
Yeah, they based it off of her and her former partner, and so that was pretty cool. So she's definitely got a name out there.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So in terms of competition, is it a pretty competitive field in terms of other companies like you who provide similar services in our state?
Well, I know a lot of contractor or restoration companies say they do biohazard, but I don't think a lot do the actual biohazard the way we do. I mean, I've met a lot of owners that say we do it, but not if there's a body there for 2 days. Like they just do quick cleanup jobs, or
They'll do the demo maybe.
yeah, they don't do the extent of what we do. There's not a ton. Yeah.
So since you purchased the company, you have knowing the pulse of the business, what has been the best form of marketing that has worked for you guys from then till now?
What I'm seeing is showing the reality of what we do, not just like, a marketing piece of call us for our services. It's really showing pictures. Before and after pictures are huge. The people like to see the gruesome stuff.
Right.
Like people like to see it, and I know that's worked, and they like to see the after pictures of the cleanup we do. So I've seen that to be huge for us.
Are you guys going to be doing anything with like video content moving forward?
Yes, we did recently hire someone that is going around with our employees to jobs. We've slowly got him in to like the clean one. It wasn't so bad. Now he's like, whoa, okay, that one was a doozy. But yes, we are.
And then how are you going to use that content? Like, where are you going to put it?
We posted our first video on Instagram, which got the most views we've ever had on there, and it just showed him. It was a feces and urine and vomit cleanup, blood, I believe, like all kinds in an apartment, but it wasn't like super bad for. I don't know if I could say that, but it might be for others. But we just posted our first video, and it went really well. Yeah.
So for your company, what's the service area? How far will you guys travel to help crime scene cleanups or homes, businesses?
Right now, we are all over Western Washington and just expanded to Spokane because Spokane reached out to us. There's a need for some drug sampling remediation, and then now we got into Southwest Washington. So we have technicians all over, but to be 24/7 in those areas right now would be hard. We haven't opened a facility just yet in those areas, but we're going to get there.
So are you expanding like satellite offices where you have another shop over in Spokane and a shop?
Yeah, that's our goal, is to have another office in those areas. Yes.
And then what's it like finding people or employees out in those areas?
It's the turnaround for employees in general is hard for us because of what we do. Luckily, we have the most loyal employees that have stuck it out for all these years. So we have a great team. I can't even complain right now. And so we're always hiring, but it's just hard sometimes because people think it's such a glamorous job until they really get there.
You're literally getting your hands dirty with everything.
It's 90% the first week they quit. So we give a 90-day probationary period, and then after that, we actually offer free benefits to our employees because of what we do, and for them to stick to 90 days after 90 days is huge. But most quit, and we have several quit in the first day.
So for other businesses out there, fellow entrepreneurs, we've heard it with some of the service companies we've worked with, is retention of people is one of the biggest challenges, especially the home service companies we work with. Like, it's hard to find quality people. If a lot of your new hires quit at 90 days, how do you mitigate, borrow a word from the restoration industry, how do you mitigate kind of that loss? Or, like if you have big jobs coming and you hire a crew or two to take on this business and then they get grossed out or they can't handle it. How do you guys manage that as a business?
I'll tell you how we manage it is Josh and I and our office staff, we'll get down and dirty too if they need us. All of us are game. Yeah. We're game. So not just because you are in the office doesn't mean we're going to go out and not do the work. We've had to definitely at times go out and help if we need to. We have great lead technicians that they just know how to do it too. They'll manage, they'll stay, they'll do it for the families, for the people. So we've just managed because of how good our team is. And so when that happens, we have a backup plan for sure, and we always get it done. Yeah.
So you basically lead by example.
I think so. Yeah, I'd like to think so.
I mean, it's very rare that nowadays you've run a business for many years, you're successful, you pull yourself out of the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's now rare to see a business owner go back into the field and show their employees like, hey, I can do what I'm willing to do what I'm asking you to do.
Yeah, I mean, and Adrian, like our office admin, he's our first. Will be like, we're short, we need you. He's out there in no time. So everyone in our office leads by example because of we just want to get it done for the people, for our clients. Yeah.
So for your staff, I mean, the quote earlier today was everybody can be great because everybody can serve. Looks like you serve not only your community but your employees. What has been your trick to have such loyal employees? Like, do you not a trick, but the culture you've built with the business? I mean, what we found out is when employees are loyal to the business, they feel like they're stakeholders and everyone's kind of rowing in the same direction. Businesses thrive. How have you guys been able to achieve that?
I think
Or keep it going?
we keep it the feeling of a small family business. Even though our goal is to grow, we don't want to get away from that feeling. I've worked in corporate jobs before, and I have felt very like lost and empty, and like I couldn't turn to my boss, and they didn't treat me very well. And I wanted to make it a point that they could always turn to us no matter what, because what we do is not easy, and they need mental health days. We give them whatever they need. We give them all the support that they need. We have chaplains that they can call, because it's not, like I said, your typical 9-to-5 job.
Right.
So we just want to make them feel comfortable. We want them make them feel like they can turn to us, and they can turn to anyone in the office.
Yeah.
And then we support them and give them, all the tools, all the resources. So I think that is why.
Can you list out all of the services you offer?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we do like the deaths. We do hoarding. We do a lot of hoarding. We have a lot of DSHS contracts around with counties for aging disability clients. We do rodents to homeless encampments. Water, mold, and fire we even do, lead, asbestos. So people don't know that, we do that. And then we just opened another division of our company called BCI Construction, and we are going to now do contractor services for
So
those.
like the restoration.
Yes, so for those that want to put back their home back to the way it was, or even better after unfortunate incidents, we now have that department as well.
Did you do that because you were losing out on revenue? And you wanted
That
to gain
too.
that revenue back?
Or your husband's experience in the construction
And my
industry.
husband's experience in the construction industry, and also it just seemed right for clients to just all in one, because they just don't want to talk to anyone else. They've already trust us. They've something bad has happened to them, and they just want to deal with us.
Well, it's hard enough dealing with an insurance company, because a year ago it happened to me, not a death, but a water damage issue.
Yeah.
Where we lived in a hotel for 4 months.
Oh wow.
2 days before my daughter left to college, so it was an emotional roller coaster. And then during, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, like Santa Claus had to visit our hotel to deliver gifts to the kids. So they were. It was kind of cool there, but not so cool. Just all right, fast food, or you're living out and just not being home. So I know the emotional distress personally of being displaced, just from a water damage issue, but with all the other stuff like the hoarding or like a death, I mean, that could be trying for your employees. These stories are real. These
like we're doing a murder down south, the 4-person scene, and he's so distraught, like can't even deal, and it's his father and family that were murdered, and then he's got to sell the house. So it just really helps us to have now this division, because he doesn't want to talk to anyone but my husband, but Josh, my husband, because there's the trust factor there now, and so that's kind of the main reason why we're like, well, might as well do it, because it just helps people and helps us. So yeah.
So what do you think, looking forward to this year, where do you see your company? Like, if we had this discussion, fast forward a year from now, what would you like to have the company be a year from now, or maybe 5
What
years.
or what have you accomplished? It's now the end of the year. What did you accomplish this year?
You mean the upcoming year?
Yeah, so like, let's say you have your goals now, and by the end of 2025,
yeah.
what will have your business have accomplished?
Well, I really feel like our revenue will be up again. We've constantly gone up every year. We have a goal we want to meet on that end. I feel like we have expanded and we'll expand and hopefully have another office elsewhere. And then also just getting us out there more to the public, hopefully more like.
So like the education piece, right?
Yeah, so really being out there a little more to different clients and businesses and them learning about what we do. So that is my goal, is to actually be out there a lot on the field that way.
Okay.
I'm going to go back and ask one quick question and then we'll wrap up. But so what is one lesson you learned early as an entrepreneur? So when you took over in 2022, is there something you learned then quickly when you look back at that moment?
When I look back, yes, I just feel like as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you really have to really know what you're getting into. Don't leave it up to other people to do it for you. To be successful, I feel like you have to get into the nitty-gritty, know everything from marketing to accounting to payroll, all the way to the end to doing the job.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like at first I'm like, oh well, she already has everything in place, but no, it's really hard. You really have to know everything and be there all the time, 24/7.
Right.
Yeah.
So then to our audience, how could people get in touch with you? Whether they want to get in touch with you about your services, or maybe they want mentorship from you guys on how to, if they're looking to start a business like yours, how can they get in
Or
touch with you?
simply just to view some of the content you will be creating.
Sure. Yeah.
Learning and seeing different photos and
Right.
videos.
Well, they can go to our website, which we'll have a new one with Valor, and then also our Instagram, Facebook pages. Instagram, we do a lot on Instagram. Still learning TikTok. I don't even know if that'll be around though, so whatever. And then our website, our email too is support@biocleanwa.com. Anyone can email us, ask us questions, call us. Our number's on our website as well. We are 24/7, so if anyone with our answering service says, I really need to talk to someone about this situation, we are calling them right away. So there's a lot of areas where you can contact us, but definitely watch our Instagram page too.
Awesome. We'll get you some followers and everything.
Yes, yes.
Well, on behalf of our sponsors, A Advanced Services and Fuse Networks, and our newest sponsor, Warrior Injury Law.
Injured? Call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
Coming at you from the underbelly of the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington. My name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
And thank you, Rhea, for watching, and thank you, our audience, for watching and tuning into this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Thanks, everyone.